So recently I decided to make my first ever 3D game, since all my games so far have been 2D. On top of that, I decided to kill two birds with one stone and make my first ever multiplayer game as well. I decided to start with making a top-down game with mechanics similar to a MOBA, and for the networking I chose to use Photon, since there are a lot of Photon tutorials and also I can start using it for free. I actually struggled a lot in the beginning with making the character's movement, since I was using Unity's nav mesh system to move around, but at the same time I wanted the players to have abilities that moved around the character, like a leaping ability that throws the character forward, which I ended up doing by adding force to the rigid body of the character. After having figured out the movement, I moved on to making the networking part. My initial choice was actually Unity's netcode system, but after struggling with the demo scene for a little while I decided to switch platforms to Photons since it seemed easier to use. Now you're not going to be able to see me struggle with the initial implementation of Photon as well, since I decided to start this devlog after having created the base of my game, which is the character movement, basic attack ability, and leaping ability, and also the matchmaking part. Having spent weeks working on the netcoding part of my game, I thought it would be a good idea to give myself a little break from all the coding and to learn about Unity's terrain tool in order to make my game's first map. I set out on the idea of an island and started shifting the terrain around to my liking. After deciding that this will be the general shape of my island, I started to look up tutorials for creating water surrounding it. I tried a few variants, but I ended up using Unity's standard asset for water, which I thought looked best. Next up I started working on making a graveyard area inspired by an asset pack I found on the asset store. This area will hold one of the spawn points for my deathmatch game mode, which is the first game mode I plan to implement. I wasn't happy with the way my movement control worked when there was a wall in the way. Sometimes the arrows pointing to the point of the click would appear on top of walls, and my character would try to get to the other side of a wall when that wasn't my intention. So I took some time to fix that first, since it was bugging me. For some reason, the nav mesh was getting affected by the box colliders of the objects I was placing in the scene in a weird way. I couldn't quite figure out why it was happening, but it had something to do with the weird angles of rotation of my objects, since keeping them in straight angles fixed the mesh in the end. While I was building the graveyard, I paused a couple of times to fix a few bugs in my character's movement that I discovered while testing the area. I spent hours looking for an issue in my code, but in the end it turns out the problem was in the rigid body, and specifically in the options that I didn't really understand and didn't set up right. After tweaking them around and fixing my issue, I had to also implement some changes to my code to adjust for the new rigid body physics. So in the end, this is what we have. I'm pretty happy with the way the graveyard looks, at least for now. I'm also glad I fixed all the bugs surrounding my character's movement in the new map. So anyways, I think this is enough for one video. In the next devlog video I will try to finish the map, or get at least as close as I can to having a finished map, so I can go back to making new gameplay mechanics, which should be fun. In the meantime, if you have any ideas or suggestions about the game or about the devlog, please leave them down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see the progress of the game as it happens. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.